Hey Titan fans, and welcome to our third episode of Coach's Corner for the 2008 football season. I'm Andy Bortz, glad to have you with us, and as always, I've got Coach Jeff Hand for the Titans along with us. Coach, glad to have you back.
Well, thanks for having me.
And it's one of those deals where we're coming in, you guys are coming off 2 wins in a row, both on the new home turf. Is it good to have the momentum going to Thomas More, a long road trip next weekend?
Absolutely. It's always good to have momentum, especially when you're ready to make a long trip.
And you guys had a lot of momentum in that St. Vincent game. In fact, we're going to take a look at the first half highlights of that game, in which the Titans won by a good margin.
Titan fans, all I can say is, what a difference a week makes. Everybody this time enjoying a good game under the sun, and the Titans taking on St. Vincent. First kickoff of the game is to running back Zach Mihalko, and right away the Titan special teams looking like they can't stop him, but Mihalko gets close to midfield, and that sets up the first big drive of the game for St. Vincent, coming off their first win in over 46 years, and right away a strong pass from quarterback Kevin Corona to his tight end. And now how about this for some trickery? Dan Blaskowski complete to Sheldon Loeffner for 35 yards, getting down to the Westminster 7, and that sets up an Aaron Jones field goal from 32 yards, and it's good. But in this second quarter, it's Kevin Franz in the offense going to work, and a pass completed down there to Gary Hutzler, and he gets himself a nice gain, and that sets up the Titans for this 2-yard quarterback sneak, and Kevin Franz scores the first touchdown of the game for the Titans. It's 10-7 on the punt here. Jim Rokovich punts the ball. He's going to punt it 42 yards, and Jordan Rooney's going to try his best to make something out of it, but he goes backwards, and oh, you don't want to do that. He gets back to about the 6-yard line, but it didn't matter. Good field position or bad field position, Titans still converted. John Gubish, a 20-yard gain right here. And then coming up later in the series, another big pass play. Once again, it's Gubish, and he's going to get some more yards out of this one, getting down to the 34-yard line. And it was pretty much a story of the defense. Zach Smith passing the ball. It gets intercepted by Mario Camerata. And how about those guys on defense doing their hard work? Franz once again looking downfield, and he's going to find Chad Rossitelli. Another good gain. And Franz once again had it pretty much on here in the first quarter. Rossitelli with a great catch off the deflection, and then setting themselves up for a great pass to John Bomber. How about him making a statement at the end of the first half, setting up this Fred Romeo field goal from 28 yards. It's good. He could have made it from 40, and that makes the score all square at halftime.
Now, Coach, St. Vincent's coming into this game off of a big win off Gallaudet. It was their first win in 46 years. Of course, the program was on a slight rebuilding program stage, for example. But you guys really came out of there and came out of that half tied. Did you expect St. Vincent to be very competitive like that after that big win?
Well, we knew that they were a much improved team. I think it caught a lot of people by surprise of actually how competitive they were, and I know this is a much improved St. Vincent team. We didn't play our best, and we gave up some plays and that we typically wouldn't if we would have had our guard up as much as it should have been.
Now, talking about the plays in the first half, it was pretty neat that Kevin Franz was still able to find his targets, and he was making good decisions. He was just looking like throwing the ball a little bit too high for the receivers, in especially the first quarter. How do you tell a quarterback you're making great decisions, but you got to just take some mustard off the ball?
Well, actually, it's just a matter of getting that confidence, and I think that he needed to just settle down and play his game, and he came out and had an exceptional second half. But in the first half, he was just a little bit off his mark, and he just needed to settle down.
Now, this is a question I've always had defensively, because sometimes you see that trick play and you're looking, thinking, how do we stop this? On the defensive side of the ball, is that more of a luck figure in there, or can you defend a trick play like they showed in the highlights a little bit ago?
Well, the specific trick play that they ran, absolutely. It's a very stoppable trick play, and it's a trick play if we're disciplined, that big play doesn't happen. There are some trick plays that come down to a little bit of luck. I mean, I'm not going to lie, but not that particular play. I mean, if we were disciplined, it would have been stopped.
Now back to the offensive side of the ball. Tons of receivers for the Titans getting a chance to catch the ball, and lots of them converting when they had the chance, and even making such great efforts when they didn't get it. Talk about the receivers so far this season, because from game to game, it looks like they're stepping up.
Well, absolutely, and we have a great group of receivers. I don't know if we have any receiver that when we go out onto the field that we say, well, that's the best athlete on the entire field. But we have a lot of receivers that are very good receivers. Chad Rossatelli, who you're going to speak with a little bit later, as well as John Gubish, Jordan Bailosh, and then there's a group of younger guys that are really starting to step up, you know, with the Jordan Rooneys, the John Bombers, the Justin Morganos, as well as our tight ends, who are doing a lot better job of getting involved in the pass game.
You guys have a really sound offense from what we've seen, because on your touchdown drive, it was 12 plays, 51 yards, took a lot of time off the clock. What's that say about the squad being able to put the points on the board and still keep the ball for as long as they did?
Well, that's the key, is you know, you can hold on to the ball as long as you want, and that's a very positive stat that we always look at, but the bottom line is putting points on the board, which we were able to do Saturday.
And we saw St. Vincent offensively with 2 quarterbacks rotating in and out. Can you prepare for that, or does that change your strategy in any way?
Well, actually, we were a little uncertain about a quarterback that had even played more, didn't play in the game. And then 2 others came into the game, but they didn't really change their offense much with any of the quarterbacks, so it was a little bit easier to prepare.
Well, those 10 points that the Titans scored were part of a 31-point unanswered streak. We're going to see the rest of those points in the second half highlights right now.
Well, it was a battle of teams putting up unanswered points against each other, but the Titans were about ready to respond. How about Nick McCloskey? Big 19-yard gain there, and then this sets up this neat pass to Jordan Bailosh from Kevin Franz for a Titan touchdown, puts him up by 7. 17-10, Titans up. Nick McCloskey bouncing off tacklers and finally getting down the open field. 59 yards for Nick McCloskey, putting him well over the century mark for this game. And it was just pretty much a Titan massacre as this pass to John Gubish is complete, and Kevin Franz was just on fire. And now handing off to Nick McCloskey for his second touchdown in the quarter. Titans up 31-10. Kevin Franz, though, going back to pass. Ball is going to Chad Rossatelli again. Had a lot of big catches in this game. There's another one right there. And time to bring in the backup. Sean Lahaki, the freshman, passes over to Seaford, but it's intercepted. And the ball is going to be run back 76 yards. This time, one of the defenders for St. Vincent coming up big and takes it all the way to pay dirt. A 76-yard return for Mike Spiel. This sets up Zach Smith passing to the end zone. Another touchdown for the Bearcats. They're not out of it yet. Going to try for 2 here. And Zach Smith's going to run it through the line, pushes his way through. And folks, we have a ball game. It is 31 for the Titans, 24 for the St. Vincent Bearcats. The onside kick, though, Titans recover and seal the deal, and it was a nail-biter at the end of the game, but the Titans take it home, 31-24.
And, Coach, all those points that the Titans put up, as we talked about, were unanswered. 31 straight, and then in that second half, Nick McCloskey just seemed like he shot out of a cannon. He had that one play, 59 yards, touchdown score. What's that like to know that your offense can be dependent on with that run game?
Well, I think it was a big thing, for our team as a whole, to be able to have that touchdown. And I think that Nicky McCloskey did a phenomenal job, on that touchdown run. And he did, he had some nice blocking, and that's the key is being able to have a solid running game.
Now, Nick McCloskey was on our show a couple weeks ago, and he commented about how well that the offensive rushing attack was improving week to week. That line, as you were talking about, was just absolutely great, making holes for him. How much optimism do you have for these guys as they get to halfway through the season?
Well, they're still young and they're still learning and they're coming along. They're taking steps, and there's several of them that have several years of eligibility remaining, which is which is a very good thing for the future of our offense. But as far as in the immediate future, if they continue to improve, good things are going to continue to happen.
And we saw a couple of interceptions in the second half by the defense. We saw forced turnovers, and best of all, they were getting points off those turnovers. So
Absolutely.
How's the defense been doing in your eyes as far as improving over these first 3 games?
Well, it boils down to consistency, and that's offensively and defensively. I think at times, as you've seen, there are sparks of brilliance on both sides of the ball, and it's just a matter of playing good defense, good offense on a consistent basis.
Now, we noticed Matt Jaworski and Andrew Robinson just all over that backfield. And tell us why those guys being able to put pressure on the quarterback in their running game is being able to make the Titan defense a force to be reckoned with.
Well, anytime that you can rush the passer with 4 guys and play pass defense, you're going to be in a situation where you can run a variety of different coverages. When you're forced to get into blitz situations, and there's going to be a high risk, high reward kind of situation.
And once the Titans took the lead in that third quarter, it seemed like the game was in their hands. And then St. Vincent comes back, gets a couple scores, but for the most part, the Titans were in control. How much did experience, as far as having seniors and juniors on the team being the leaders, how did that pay off versus St. Vincent having a lot of young players?
Well, I think experience played a role. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But the reality of the situation is we let them back in. We overcame adversity, and that was a very, very big positive for us as a team and as a program. But then we also have to learn how to finish it.
So are there any concerns going into the end part of the season here as we actually approach halfway about closing games? Because it's been a couple of nail-biters in the past 2 of them. Is there any concern about possibly closing out the game?
No, I don't think it's a concern. I mean, obviously, you want it to happen, but the bottom line is we were victorious in both of the tighter games.
Now, the kicking game really improved from the Allegheny game, it looked like. What's next for the team? Because it seems like whenever they're given something to improve, they really step up to the plate.
Well, I think that they're going to continue to improve. I mean, we knew our punt game, and the situations that we had there was going to be able to improve by just concentrating on some technique. And I think probably the thing that as far as a goal to improve, and that's our kickoff team. We've given up that longer kickoff return, in 2 games in a row now.
Okay, Coach, well, we'll talk a little bit more about that coming up later. Your Pack Report's coming up next. Stay tuned. You're watching Coach's Corner.
Need to get your broadcasting career off and rolling? Then it's time to explore your options by being a part of Titan Radio at Westminster College.
We try to run the radio station as closely as what might be found in the real world.
There's student anchors, student reporters, student producers.
It's really hands-on, and you learn a lot your first year.
From keeping the community informed,
I'm Pamela Marlowe with the Titan Radio News Update.
to keeping the community entertained.
Maroon 5, going out on tour again.
You'll get all the radio experience you could ask for, and more, only at Westminster College.
If we can't beat the competition's price, we'll just give you the car.
But a vehicle is more than price.
A whole lot more.
Gio Crivelli consistently invests in manpower, training, and equipment to deliver car buyers peace of mind.
From our state-of-the-art repair and service garage to our award-winning auto body repair center, Gio Crivelli is prepared to earn your trust.
Gas, stingy Impala to rugged Silverado, Gio Crivelli Chevrolet, Route 18, Newcastle.
And remember, if we can't beat the competition's price, we'll just give you the car.
Good evening, football fans. I'm Christina Rosetta with this week's edition of Pack Report. This past week was the official opener of conference play for the Pack, and the competition was stiff in all the matchups. Teal looked to rebound from an 0-2 start at home against number 16 Washington and Jefferson. However, despite a hard-fought game, the Tomcats came up once again on the short end, losing 34-24. A back-and-forth first half where both teams went score for score to force a 10-all tie at halftime. but it didn't take long for W&J though to rebound in the second half as the Presidents scored on the first possession of the third quarter on a 4-yard Bobby Swallow pass to David Revita in the end zone. With a stifling defense that forced 2 Teal fumbles and a driving offense led by Swallow, W&J forged ahead through the third quarter to take a 27-10 advantage. Teal rallied early in the fourth quarter on a Terrence McAllister touchdown to cut the deficit to 27-17, but it was not enough as W&J answered to take a 34-17 lead. A late score by Teal proved not to be enough as the Presidents squeezed out the 34-24 victory. Bobby Swallow led the way for the Presidents with 258 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Tomcat quarterback Willie Bova wasn't far behind with 253 yards and also 2 touchdowns. W&J will return home this week to take on Grove City, while Teal will host Geneva. Speaking of Grove City, the PAC co-leader was able to outlast Bethany in the first week of PAC action 41-35. A Brian Mercer touchdown that put the Wolverines up 7-0 capped off a scoring battle which resulted in 70 total points scored in the first half alone. Bethany answered on an Eric Walker 14-yard touchdown run to tie the game at 7-all. Grove City didn't waste any time, though, as they used a 68-yard drive down the field to score on a 2-yard Brian Mercer touchdown. Bethany tied it up once again, though, with a 30-yard Marcus Santini touchdown run with 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Again, Grove City turned on the offense fueled by Mercer's 35-yard run downfield to set up a 1-yard QB sneak by Andrew DiDonato with 1 second left on the clock in the first quarter. The scoring battle continued in the second quarter when Bison backup QB Jeff Joyce scrambled 3 yards into the end zone for the Bison touchdown to tie the game. The Wolverines would not let up, though, on their home turf, marching down the field 55 yards for a 6-yard Andrew DiDonato touchdown run. The PAT failed, though, and Bethany took the lead on the next possession with a Chad Smith 78-yard pass to Matt Cruz for the touchdown. Evan Placius' PAT went through the uprights to give the Bison a 28-27 lead. Both teams went on to score once more before a second-half defensive struggle. The Wolverines, though, were able to secure their game-winning score with 2 minutes remaining in the game on a 2-yard Brian Mercer touchdown and a 2-point conversion from Steven Mercer to A.J. Taper. Santini led the way for the Bison with 87 yards and a touchdown, while Brian Mercer was the star of the game and for the Wolverines, totaling 126 yards and a stifling 4 touchdowns. Grove City will face defending PAC champion W&J on Saturday, while Bethany will take their bye week. Thomas More notched its first win in the PAC with a 34-26 victory at Waynesburg. The Saints jumped out to a fast 20-0 lead in the first quarter alone and only allowed 2 Yellow Jacket field goals in the second quarter to secure a 20-6 lead going into the third. Another Waynesburg field goal off the leg of Brian Arbus in the early stages of the third quarter cut the Saints' lead to 20-9, but Thomas More answered with an Anthony Knott 16-yard touchdown run to put the Saints up 27-9. Waynesburg was able to put together some offense on a 49-yard Brian Arbus field goal, and when punt returner Scott Creed dashed 86 yards down the field for a jacket cut touchdown to cut the Saints' lead to 8. But Thomas More came right back as Trevor Stellman found Corderio Collier on a 29-yard touchdown pass. Waynesburg was able to put up one final score on a Billy Becker 6-yard touchdown run. However, it wasn't enough as Thomas More had already done the damage needed for the victory. Trevor Stellman carried the Saints with 178 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Billy Becker carried for 105 yards and 1 TD for the Jackets. Place kicker Brian Arbus, though, was the real star of the game, making a huge impact, nailing 4 field goals, one of them the 49-yarder, ties the Waynesburg record set back in 1985 by Dave Zada. Waynesburg will travel to Latrobe to take on St. Vincent College, while Thomas More will host your Westminster Titans on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. And now for the NFL Pick'em Challenge this week. Andy, Coach Hand, and myself made our picks for the Steelers' devastating loss to the Eagles, Baltimore's upset of the Cleveland Browns, and Dallas's convincing win over the Packers. Here's the results. Coach Hand and myself both sit at 2, while Andy is at 0. That's going to do it for this edition of Coach's Corner. I'm Christina Rossetto, and be sure to tune in next week. Stay right where you are. More Coach's Corner is on the way.
Learn how to broadcast a big game just like the pros at ESPN? If so, the Broadcast Communications Department at Westminster College is where you need to be. At Westminster, you learn what it takes to be live out in the field. Westminster lets you learn all aspects, from behind the scenes in the truck, directing and running instant replay, to filming the action with a camera or announcing play-by-play. So if you want hands-on, live experience, check out the Broadcast Communications major at Westminster College. For more information, visit us online at titanradio.net.
So you're a huge Western Pennsylvania football fan? Then ncnewsonline.com is for you. Crunch is an award-winning internet site of the Newcastle News devoted to area high school football, where you'll get a daily fix of schedules, scores, rosters, highlights, opinion, and player profiles, plus video and photo galleries. Online at ncnewsonline.com. It's football coverage as it happens, designed for you, the dedicated fan. Crunch online at ncnewsonline.com.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner, everyone. I'm Andy Bortz. This is one of my favorite parts of the show because we get to interview one of your Titan players. And today I've got wide receiver Chad Rosatelli. Wears number 7 on the field, and most of the time he's flying around, so you can't really find him. Chad, how you doing?
Doing good.
Glad you could be here.
Glad to be here too.
Talk about your role on the team a little bit, because last year was when I officially started to call the Titan games, and I saw you at the running back position, and then more at the wide receiver position. This year, it's more like you've taken a role into the wide receiver position. Is that more suitable to your style of play?
Well, yeah. Last year I was going back and forth between wide receiver and tailback, but this year I like it better. It suits me better, I think, because I get to stick with one position and I know the system better, one position.
Now, as a wide receiver, talk about chemistry with the quarterback. Does that take a long time to really develop, especially with you and Kevin Franz being on the team now for as long as you have?
Well, chemistry, especially with the wide receivers and quarterback, it's an ongoing process. I mean, it's all repetition and practice. The quarterback knows when you're going to stop right down and where he's going to throw it, and it's just all repetition and practice, a lot of it.
You've had a lot of big catches throughout your career, and I remember Brett Ziegler last year doing a lot of the work in the receiving end, and I saw you getting more catches also that year. How much did you learn from Brett Ziegler as a player and as a friend?
Oh, Brett Ziegler's a great friend and player, but last year, since I was mostly at the receiver tailback position, Nick McCloskey took me under his wing and taught me the running back position very well, and then now this year, I had the chance with Jordan Bailosh and John Gubish to take me under their wings and teach me the wide receiver position even better. So,
how about the new receivers coming in? Because even in the highlights against St. Vincent, saw a lot of receivers really stepping up and making plays. How difficult is it to teach these receivers to play in an offense like this that's grinded out, long drives? What's it like to teach them?
Well, it's once again a lot of practice. It's not a difficult system, but they're getting it very well, as you can tell, because they're getting playing time and they're catching the ball. They're doing real great. The receivers are definitely stepping up, but it's more practice. You got to just keep going at it.
Now, how do you prepare for a game against Thomas More? Because this is a long trip. Is there any different way to approach a game like this?
It's mental attitude. I know the receivers personally because we're working a lot on our downfield blocking, and just the whole team, we want to go out the first half and have the best first half we had yet. So we're definitely working on that in practice.
Has your receiving squad been improving in your eyes through these first 3 games, and how much higher do you guys anticipate to go?
Yeah, we're definitely improving, and we're always trying to get better, obviously, and we want to be the best in the pack and just help lead the team to the PAC championship.
Now, talk about your goals for this year as a wide receiver. And I know, every other player has said, our team goal is to win the PAC championship.
Yeah.
What about your goals for this season?
Well,
do you share that same look?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone on the team shares that look. My goals, I just do the best I can and catch every ball.
Now, I've talked to the other guys about the new field. They had 2 games in a row on that new field. What's that field feel like? Because it looked like it was holding up in the rain, and it looked like it was doing its job in the sun too. What'd you think of it?
It's a great field. I mean, it's definitely easy on our feet, and it's an all-weather field. So even on any weather, it's still going to be good. I mean, you're going to get those spots in the field where there's going to be a lot of rain or a lot of whatever collected on it, but it's a good field.
What's the future hold for Chad Rossitelli?
The future for Chad Rossitelli. Get a teaching job somewhere.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That'll be fun for you. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show, and glad talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
More Coach's Corner coming back next.
How would you like to sit in a college classroom where you know everyone's name?
Oh, hey, how's it going?
At Westminster College, our students aren't just another face in a lecture hall of 200. They're people, individuals with a smile and a story eager to know you.
So the other day I was sitting around...
Learn the skills you need while having a close relationship with your teachers and classmates at Westminster. So if you too want to be known by name, check out Westminster on the web at westminster.edu.
Welcome back to Coach's Corner. Going to get a quick wrap-up and a quick preview of what's going to happen against Thomas More next weekend. Coach, how do you prepare a team going 6 hours down the road to face a Thomas More team that's pretty good this year?
Yeah, it's a very good team that we're going to face, and the number one thing is tackling one challenge at a time, and that's finishing this week strong and making sure that we're preparing ourselves mentally, and then the next step is having a good solid practice and a good meal on Friday, and enjoying the ride down there. But then realizing once we get in Erlanger, Kentucky, which is where we're staying, right next to the campus, and once we get there, that it's a matter of work at that point.
Now, overall, what do you feel has been the biggest improvement for the team this season?
As far as the biggest improvement, the number one thing is the alphabet stat, as I like to call it. As far as the W's and the L's, that ultimately is the most important thing. And if we can continue to improve there, and take a step each week, then we'll be happy.
Now, are you at all concerned about the time it takes to get the offense rolling? Because it seems like in the 2 home games we saw, it took a little while for the Titans to get a flow. Do you think they can improve it at Thomas More?
Yeah, I do. I think that, if we come out with the attitude that we're going to have a great start out of the gates, and, and we do that, then, momentum's going to be on our side.
Do you think the team's starting to click at the right time?
Well, I think we're playing good team football. As you noticed when we had those 31 unanswered points, offensively, defensively, and special teams, we're all clicking at one time, and that's the most important thing. If just one phase of the game, and that's what's so special about the sport of football, if just one phase of the game is clicking at any one time, it doesn't serve as much of a purpose if the other phases aren't.
Well, Coach, we wish you lots of luck this weekend, and hopefully you can bring home 3 in a row.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for watching Coach's Corner. We'll be back next week to give you some highlights from the Thomas More game, too. Have a good one.
Earlier